At my sister's engagement dinner, her boyfriend raised a toast and said, "I have the best girl in the world, and the strangest future brother-in-law." Everyone laughed, except me. Because I knew what he did last summer. And I had the pics to prove it wasn't just a trip. The night my sister's fiancé publicly humiliated me, something snapped. He thought I was just a joke, but I was holding a secret that would shatter their entire world. I was stuck at the far end of the table, the clinking of glasses and forced laughter echoing around me. The air was thick with celebration, but for me, it just felt heavy, suffocating. My name's Ethan. Tonight was supposed to be all about my sister, Sophia, but it took a wild turn. Sophia, she's always been the golden girl of our family. Younger than me, but light years ahead in mom and dad's eyes. Straight A's, prom queen, perfect boyfriend. Me? I was the one working night shifts at the grocery store when dad lost his job, quietly covering mom's medication. No one ever asked, but I just did it. I never chased the spotlight. Truthfully, I liked being in the shadows. But lately, it felt like I was disappearing, just background noise in someone else's perfect life. This dinner was supposed to be small, casual. Just family and a couple of friends. Sophia claimed she didn't want a spectacle. But the second we walked into the private room at the Gilded Spoon, I saw the gold-trimmed menus, the elaborate centerpieces, and a live violinist playing Ed Sheeran covers. Someone definitely went overboard. That someone was Lucas, her fiancé. He was Mr. 6 feet 2 inches, blinding white smile, the kind of guy who wears loafers with no socks and somehow pulls it off. He clapped me on the back, a wide grin that never quite reached his eyes. "Ethan, my favorite almost brother," he boomed. "Lost weight, or finally got a haircut?" He laughed, like we were old college buddies. I managed a tight smile, already feeling my patience fray. Just trying to look decent for the occasion. "Mission accomplished," he whispered, leaning in. "But next time, no need to go full funeral director. We're celebrating." I should have just let it go. But his tone. It was light teasing, yes, but with this sharp edge, like he knew exactly how to needle me without looking bad in front of mom and dad. The evening rolled on, filled with clinking glasses, bright smiles, and gushing toasts. Mom practically glowed at Sophia. Dad kept slapping Lucas on the back, calling him a son. I just sipped my water, stayed quiet. That's my strategy around Lucas. Anything I say, anything at all, just becomes another opportunity for him to one-up me or turn it into a punchline. I stopped trying to compete, it's just too draining. Then came the toast. It started off sweet, I'll give him that. Lucas stood up, a glass of Prosecco in hand, tapping it with a knife. He had this smug confidence, like a best man at a destination wedding. He waited for silence, then locked eyes with Sophia. "I've said this 100 times, but it's still true," he began, his voice dropping into that performative sincerity he always pulled out at parties. "I got the best girl in the world. Sophia, you're beautiful, brilliant, and somehow, you still say yes to me, even when I leave my socks everywhere or mess up your Netflix algorithm." People chuckled. Sophia blushed, looking down in that demure way she has when she wants to seem humble. Lucas then turned to the room, raising his glass higher. "But let's be real," he said, "when you get the best girl in the world, you also get the weirdest future brother-in-law." Laughter erupted. Mom almost choked on her wine. Dad slapped the table. Lucas gave me a playful wink. Ethan's the kind of guy who reads instruction manuals for fun, who alphabetizes his spices, who still has his GameCube plugged in. More laughter. I mean, I walked into his apartment last week, and I swear it smelled like a library. But hey, at least we know he's not cooking meth, right? He took a sip, and people laughed even harder. My cousin, Chloe, actually clapped. I forced a smile, reaching for my glass, my hand trembling slightly. It wasn't just the joke, not really. I've been called a weird before. I am a little different, quieter, more observant. But the way Lucas said it, the way everyone laughed. It wasn't just a joke. It was a stark reminder. I wasn't part of their shiny, perfect picture. I was just the quirky background character in Sophia's movie. But here's the kicker, Lucas and I shared a secret. One he desperately hoped I'd never mention. It happened last summer, when Sophia was visiting our grandmother in Wisconsin for a couple of weeks. Lucas was supposedly working late, missing her like crazy. I wasn't looking for anything, honestly. It just landed in my lap. Like truth sometimes does when secrets get too heavy. It began with a text, from an unknown number, clearly meant for someone else. A selfie of Lucas, shirtless, in a hotel bed, grinning. The caption, "Wish you were here again tonight." I stared at it for a full minute, my brain trying to process. I didn't reply. I just started digging. And what I found? It wasn't just one message, or one girl. It was photos, emails, hotel receipts, Instagram DMs from a burner account, still featuring his signature gym selfie. He wasn't careful because he never thought he had to be. No one ever held Lucas accountable. He was too charming, too smooth, too perfect. I saved everything. At first, I was clueless what to do. Sophia was so happy, talking wedding venues and Pinterest boards, her eyes dreamy. It made my stomach twist. I told myself it might be a one-time mistake. Maybe he'd confess. Maybe she already knew. But tonight, with his cruel joke, and everyone laughing right along, something in me shifted. I looked at all those glowing faces, and I felt invisible again. Erased. And Lucas? He was basking in the spotlight, confident he'd gotten away with everything. He was wrong. Because I knew what he did last summer. And I had the photos to prove it wasn't just a vacation. I was done being the weird brother in the background. But before I made any moves, before I decided how far I'd go, I needed to confirm I wasn't the only one who saw the truth. If that meant burning a few bridges, then so be it. I didn't say a word that night. Not at dinner. Not in the car home. Not even when Mom kissed my cheek, gushing, "Wasn't Lucas just the sweetest thing?" Such a hoot. I just nodded like a good son, but I walked into my apartment feeling like I was heading to war. The second the door clicked shut, I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. The silence felt heavy, like my tiny apartment knew the weight I carried. I pulled out the hidden folder from the back of my closet, tucked beneath old tax returns and a shoebox full of unused wires. Inside, printed screenshots, backup flash drives, and a manila envelope marked July 15th, Columbus. The hotel receipt. 2 nights, paid in cash, under my name, Ethan Langston. I hadn't even noticed that detail until a week after printing it. That's when it hit me, Lucas wasn't just a cheater, he was calculating, reckless, and not nearly as clever as he thought. Still, I waited weeks. I told myself I needed more proof, that I should talk to Sophia first, or maybe even Dad, or drop a subtle hint to Mom. But the real reason I hesitated? I knew no one would believe me. Not over Lucas. This wasn't the first time Sophia's glow pushed me into the shadows, you know? When we were kids, I won a regional science fair. Spent 3 months building a whole model of our city's sewage system, moving parts and everything. I was 13. Judges loved it. Came home with a plaque and a $500 scholarship. That same week, Sophia was on the front page of the local paper for singing a solo at her middle school choir showcase. Guess whose photo Mom framed for the living room? Always been like that. Lucas just amplified it. The weeks after the engagement dinner blurred into bad coffee, sleepless nights, and endless, sickeningly happy family group texts. Every other day, Sophia would send a new message, "Look what Lucas surprised me with." Always something expensive. Hamilton tickets, a custom leather-bound wedding planner, just because a bracelet probably worth more than my rent. "Isn't he just perfect?" she wrote once, under a photo of heart-shaped pancakes. I stared at it, wanting to send something snarky, something bitter. But I didn't. I muted the chat, opened the folder again. Stared at the photo of Lucas kissing that girl outside the hotel. Her face was turned away, but his wasn't. his hand on her lower back, like he owned her. Like he'd forgotten that same hand would be on my sister's shoulder. A few hours later, I was ready to stop waiting. Or so I thought. The real turning point hit one Sunday afternoon in late October. We were at my parents' place for what Mom called a mini engagement brunch. Just a casual get-together. She made cinnamon rolls and those tiny egg muffins she always forgets the salt in. Sophia was practically glowing in her oversized sweater, flashing her ring for the 10th time, like she hadn't already posted 5 close-ups on Instagram with captions like, "Still pinching myself." Ring sparkles. Lucas sat right beside her on the couch, arms slung around her shoulder, looking like he was born into our family. Dad was in his recliner, sipping lukewarm coffee, nodding at Lucas like he was auditioning for Son of the Year. I tried to keep my distance, helping Mom in the kitchen, clearing plates, staying busy. Then Lucas brought up the bachelor party. Oh, and Ethan, he called out loudly, like he just remembered I existed. I was talking to the guys. "We're thinking Vegas. You in?" I blinked. "Vegas?" "Yeah, man," he said, like we were old buddies. "You're the best man. Gotta go big." That stopped me cold. I looked at Sophia. "I'm the best man?" She beamed. "Of course you are. Who else would it be?" My heart hammered unevenly. I wanted to believe her, that it was genuine. But I knew what this meant. It meant I'd be standing at the altar, handing Lucas the rings, smiling for photos, giving a speech about the happy couple, all while pretending I didn't know everything. And Lucas knew that, too. That's why he wanted me involved. He was daring me. Challenging me to stay silent. I forced a smile. "Sounds fun. Just don't bring your GameCube," he added with another laugh. Everyone chuckled again. Even Sophia. And something inside me just broke. The true betrayal came the very next week. It started with an innocent text from my cousin, Chloe. "Hey, Ethan, just wondering if you're okay?" I didn't mean to laugh so hard at dinner. Lucas's jokes just catch you off guard. I stared at the screen, confused. "What do you mean?" She hesitated. "The roast video, you know? The one Lucas posted on Insta?" I didn't know. So I went to Lucas's profile, which I'd blocked weeks ago, unblocked him just long enough to see it. And there it was, a 2-minute compilation he'd stitched together from past family dinners. All clips of me in the background. Saying something nerdy. Spilling a drink. Adjusting my glasses. Tripping over a chair once during Thanksgiving. The caption read, "When your future brother-in-law is a sitcom character." It had over 700 likes. The comments? Full of laughing emojis. Even Sophia commented, "I can't with him sometimes." The top comment, "He looks like the kind of guy who corrects people's grammar in texts." Lucas replied, "He does. And I do. I don't remember setting my phone down. I don't remember walking to the sink. But I remember the cold water running over my hands, grounding me, stopping the shaking. That was it. That was the moment. Not the cheating. Not the smug toasts. Not even the hotel receipts. It was the way he made me into a joke. And worse, the way my own family joined in. That's when I knew they wouldn't believe me. They'd defend him, unless I made it impossible not to. I didn't sleep a wink that night. I stayed up, methodically organizing everything. Screenshots, timestamps, even that photo of him kissing the woman at the hotel. I reverse image searched her, found her Instagram, and saved a post she'd made 2 weeks prior, with a tagged location. "Weekend getaway with my favorite man," it read. The blurry man in the background? Lucas, wearing the same watch he wore to Sophia's engagement party. I compiled it all, printed photos, a copy of the burner Instagram account he used to message other women, just in case he deleted it. I told myself I was just preparing. But deep down, I knew I was about to go nuclear. Not for revenge. But because I finally wanted to be heard. To be seen. Not as the weird brother, not as a punchline. As someone who mattered. As someone trying to protect his sister from marrying a fraud. And if they still refuse to listen? Then they'd have to watch what happens when the background character finally steps into the spotlight. I wasn't just going to ruin the wedding, I was going to ruin Lucas. That week, sleep barely touched me. You'd think once you decide to burn it all down, once you commit, a sense of peace would settle. That the tension would just dissolve into resolve. Instead, I felt like I was gripping a live wire, buzzing with too much voltage to let go, too much fear to hold tighter. I had everything, screenshots, DMs, hotel receipts, even a voice memo. I'd managed to record it when Lucas accidentally let something slip during a casual guys' night. He'd said, laughing, "Look, I love Sophia, but every man deserves one last wild summer, right?" I'd pretended to laugh, then saved the audio. But when Saturday came, the day of Sophia's bridal shower, I just couldn't. Not yet. Mom had invited me to help set up, though I knew I wasn't really wanted. It was mostly Sophia's friends and extended family, all swooning over Lucas, sipping pink mimosas. I showed up early, pastries from Sophia's favorite overpriced bakery, hoping for some goodwill. No one really acknowledged me. Mom gave a distracted smile and a quick kiss, then asked if I could blow up some. She said yes, balloons. One of Sophia's sorority sisters joked that I was the most responsible man in the room, which everyone found hilarious. I just pretended not to hear. Standing there, twisting balloon knots, watching them all drift through the house like actors on a stage I didn't belong to, it hit me, I was utterly alone. Even Sophia, who used to braid dandelion crowns for me in the backyard, felt like a stranger. A stranger who called me E in public because Ethan sounded too serious. A stranger who let her fiancé humiliate me, then co-signed it in the comments. After I finished setting up, I just slipped out. Didn't say goodbye. No one noticed, not even Mom. That night, I opened the folder again. And I hesitated. For the first time, I wondered what would happen after I exposed him. After the evidence was out, after the family exploded? Would it actually make me feel better? Would Sophia even thank me? Would anyone? I stared at that manila folder, then slowly pushed it back into the drawer. I didn't touch it again that night. The next morning, I went for a walk. It's strange how small things can reroute your entire life. That walk turned into a habit. One lap around the block, then two. I left my phone at home. I craved the silence. I needed to remember what it felt like to simply exist, without someone hovering, mocking, expecting. I started waking up earlier, making myself proper breakfast, reading again, not to impress anyone, but because it reminded me I wasn't stupid. I'd always loved learning, I just forgot what it felt like when no one was laughing at me for it. 2 weeks after the bridal shower, I joined a local coding boot camp. I'd always dabbled in programming, taught myself Python in high school, even built a budgeting app to help Mom track her prescriptions. I figured it was time to take that hobby seriously. At first, I felt like an imposter. Most students were younger, louder, more confident. But slowly, something shifted. I started answering questions, offering help. One instructor pulled me aside. "Ever thought about teaching? You've got the patience." I actually laughed. I hadn't genuinely laughed in weeks. That same week, I reconnected with Noah, a guy I used to work with on the night shift. He'd started his own design firm, and it was taking off. He needed someone to build the tech side of a client dashboard. We got coffee, talked for 3 hours. 2 days later, he sent me a contract offer. For the first time in ages, I felt useful. Needed. Not just tolerated, but valued. Sophia called a few days after that. She needed help exporting guest list data from Google Sheets to her wedding website. I almost let it go to voicemail. But something told me to answer. "Hey, E," she chirped, like nothing was wrong. "You're still the spreadsheet wizard, right?" I paused. "What do you need?" She launched into her request, acting like she hadn't ghosted me for a month, like we were still close, like she hadn't laughed at Lucas's jokes or commented dead under his roast video. I walked her through it, calmly, clearly. When she thanked me, I said, "No problem." And I meant it. Not because she deserved it, but because I deserved my peace. I was done letting other people's actions dictate my calm. Before she hung up, she added, "Oh, Lucas says hi. He's planning something special for the wedding. Says you're going to love it." I didn't ask what it was. I already knew Lucas wasn't done trying to humiliate me. He was just waiting for a bigger stage. And this time, I wasn't going to freeze. But I wasn't going to lash out either. I was going to be ready. The invitation arrived the next week, handwritten calligraphy, wax sealed, custom stamps. I opened it slowly, like it might explode. Inside, a card with floral embossing, soft pink ink, gold trim. "You are cordially invited to celebrate the wedding of Sophia Rose Carter and Lucas Alexander Miller. Venue, the Grandview Manor. Date, June 10th, dress code, formal elegance." I stared at it, not for what it said, but for what it meant. There it was. The stage. The moment Lucas had been building toward all year. He thought I'd show up awkward, isolated, forced to smile through another toast, another roast, another public jab at a weird Ethan. He thought I'd fold. But he'd underestimated one crucial thing. I wasn't the same person he met a year ago. I wasn't lonely, or aimless, or desperate for their approval anymore. I'd quietly, steadily, built something. I had a new job, a steady income, new friends from the boot camp, and even a budding friendship with Mia, the barista who always remembered my name and spelled it correctly. Most importantly, I had proof. Proof of everything he'd done. I didn't need to throw it like a grenade. I just needed to wait for the perfect moment. Because sometimes, true payback isn't loud, or screaming, or a public meltdown. Sometimes, it's quiet. Calculated. And devastating. The next few weeks were a blur. Sophia texted a few more times, asking about hotel bookings, playlist ideas, and once, if I'd write a speech for the rehearsal dinner. I told her I'd think about it. She sounded surprised, almost hurt. I wasn't mean, or cold. Just calm, measured, unshaken. Lucas even tried texting. "Bro, rehearsal dinner's gonna be wild. Better bring that weird charm of yours." I didn't reply. Let him wonder. Let him sweat. Then came the last straw. 2 days before the wedding. I was dropping off a package at my apartment complex's mailroom when I heard a voice behind me. "Ethan." I turned. It was Lucas, smug as ever, wearing one of those workout hoodies that cost more than my suit. "Hoping I'd run into you," he said. "Why?" He laughed. "Don't be like that. We're practically family." I stayed silent. He leaned in slightly. "Just wanted to give you a heads up. Got something planned for the rehearsal dinner. It's gonna be hilarious." I stared at him. Another joke at my expense. He shrugged, grinning. "Come on, man. You're good at taking a joke. People love it." "Do they?" He blinked. For just a second, his confidence wavered. I stepped forward. "You think you're clever?" I said, my voice low. "But I see through you." He tilted his head. "What's that supposed to mean?" I smiled, just a little. "You'll find out." Then I walked past him, calm and steady. Like I hadn't just lit a fuse. Because I had. And it was already burning. Lucas didn't chase after me. He didn't have to. His smirk lingered, and I'm sure he believed. Whatever fear he'd tried to plant had taken root. That was his style, playfully cruel, performative, always 2 steps ahead because no one ever bothered to challenge him. But this time? I wasn't walking away. I wasn't going to be the punchline again. No fake laughs at a slideshow of my most embarrassing moments, narrated by him with snide commentary. I knew him too well. This wasn't just about marrying Sophia. It was about conquering me, ensuring I stayed beneath him. His final victory lap. But I had something he didn't, the truth. And, more importantly, the patience to use it exactly right. So, I started setting the stage. The next morning, I visited Mia, the barista I'd befriended these past months. We had a quiet understanding. She didn't ask too many questions, I didn't overshare. But our morning chats had deepened. She'd complimented my hoodie, I'd offered to fix her cafe's glitchy printer. That morning, she saw my face before I spoke. "What's wrong?" I handed her a USB drive and a folded note. "You do photography, right?" She blinked. "Yeah, part-time." "Why?" I hesitated, then exhaled. "I need a favor. For my sister's wedding." Her eyes narrowed as she took the drive. "What kind of favor?" "I need someone in the room, with a camera, when everything changes." She just stared, no smile, no jokes. "Finally, when and where?" That was the first piece. The second came from someone I hadn't spoken to in years, Ava. She and Sophia used to be inseparable, until Lucas arrived. Then Ava just stopped showing up, stopped texting back. But I remembered how close they were. I found her on Instagram, sent a short message. "Hey, it's Ethan, Sophia's brother. I need to talk. It's important." She replied the next day, I was wondering when someone would finally ask. We met in a quiet city park. She brought coffee, I brought the folder. She didn't flinch at Lucas's face in the screenshots. "I always knew something was off," she said. Sophia wouldn't listen. He always charmed his way out. I nodded slowly. She still won't listen. Not unless she sees it. Ava tapped a manicured finger on the photo of Lucas, arm around the mystery woman. "She'll believe it if it comes from me." I stared. "You'd do that?" Ava gave me a look that said everything. "You think I just disappeared because I got busy?" He told Sophia I was jealous, that I tried to kiss him. Made me seem like the problem. She chose him. She paused. But I never forgot. I knew then Ava wasn't just helping out of pity. She wanted justice too. That was the second piece. The third came when I finally sat down with Noah, my friend from the Dashboard Project. We were at a quiet ramen bar on a rainy Tuesday, waiting for food. "I need your help," I said. He raised an eyebrow. "Work stuff?" "Not exactly." I explained enough for him to understand, the folder, the screenshots, the wedding, Lucas's manipulation, my plan to expose it all without a public screaming match. Noah listened, no interruptions. When I finished, he leaned back, crossed his arms. "So, what's the move?" "I want to run a private stream. Just for one person." He blinked. "A stream?" I nodded. "I need Sophia to see something during the rehearsal dinner, in real time. No chance for Lucas to talk over it. No chance for her to dismiss it as fake." Noah let out a low whistle. "You're completely serious?" He thought. "I can set that up. Secure link, one-time access." "You sure she'll open it?" "I'll make sure." And just like that, the third piece clicked into place. The next few days were a whirlwind of quiet, intense preparation. I sent Ava a voice memo, detailing everything she'd need to say. She rehearsed it with me 3 times, determined to get it perfect. We coordinated with Mia, who agreed to pose as a hired event photographer. No one would question her camera then. Noah handled the tech, setting up the secure stream, embedding the folder's video into a crisp, undeniable montage. Photos, messages, timestamps. Everything. With Ava's narration layered on top, there'd be no room for denial. "No, it's not what it looks like." Just the raw, unedited truth. Then came the rehearsal dinner. It was in a rented event hall, draped with gauzy white curtains and twinkling fairy lights. Everyone dressed to the nines. Soft jazz played, champagne flutes glistened. And Lucas? Front and center, naturally, schmoozing like he was hosting his own talk show. I walked in late, on purpose. Wore a tailored charcoal suit I'd saved for interviews. No one noticed at first. Then a few heads turned. Even Sophia looked surprised. Lucas came over, that too smooth smile already forming. Ethan. Wasn't sure you'd show. Glad you made it. I nodded. Wouldn't miss it. He looked nervous, just for a split second, and that's when I knew, he felt it. Something was off, but he had no idea what. That was the whole point. The plan was simple. At exactly 8:15 p.m., Ava would text Sophia the link. Mia would be nearby, camera ready, capturing her reaction. The stream would be 3 minutes, just long enough for the truth to sink in. Then we'd see what Sophia did. But the clock hadn't even struck 8 o'clock when Lucas grabbed the mic. I froze. He was jumping the gun. Before dinner, he announced, standing before the room with TED Talk confidence, I just want to say a few words about family. I glanced at Mia, she looked concerned. He continued, some of us grow up with the perfect family. Some of us don't. But if we're lucky, we marry into one. And I gotta say, I feel like I hit the jackpot with Sophia. Polite laughter. My stomach clenched. But of course, no family is complete without its lovable oddballs. Here it comes. Lucas turned toward me. And I gotta say, Ethan, man, you've always kept things interesting. The room chuckled. My throat tightened. So tonight, he declared, I thought I'd share a little something I put together. Just a few memories, you know, good fun. He waved to someone by the DJ booth. A screen flickered to life behind him, and suddenly, a slideshow began. Of me. Clips, photos, awkward moments stitched with silly music. Me spilling gravy at Thanksgiving. Me tripping at Sophia's graduation. Me singing karaoke off-key, wild-eyed. The room roared with laughter. Lucas turned to me, mid-presentation, winking. Don't worry, it gets better. It didn't. I wanted to disappear. To scream. To run out and never come back. Then my phone buzzed. 8:15, right on time. A text from Ava, sent. She's opening it now. I looked up. Sophia, across the room, was frowning at her phone. She read the message, paused, then clicked. The laughter around her slowly dulled, like her world had gone quiet while the rest of the room kept spinning. Her face changed. The color drained. She looked up at Lucas, who was too busy laughing to notice. Back down at her phone, then back at him. Her hand trembled. Mia was already snapping photos. Lucas turned back to the screen, but the audience had stopped laughing. They were all looking at Sophia now. And Sophia? She was walking forward, one slow, deliberate step at a time, straight toward Lucas. Sophia didn't say a word as she approached Lucas. Not at first. The music had stopped. The room had shifted. Forks hung midair, champagne flutes paused halfway to lips, everyone unsure if this was part of the show or something far, far worse. Lucas stood, mic still in hand, confusion slowly spreading across his face. Soft, he chuckled, a nervous edge to his voice. You okay? She looked up from her phone, met his eyes. I just watched a video, she said, her voice eerily calm, controlled. Too calm. Lucas tilted his head, still trying to perform. What? Like one of the slideshows? I told you, nothing too embarrassing. It was of you, she cut in. Lucas blinked. It was of you kissing another woman outside a hotel. It was of your text messages, your burner account, your little weekend getaway under my brother's name. The silence was deafening. No one moved. Lucas's jaw twitched. What? What are you talking about? Sophia raised her phone, played the last 10 seconds of the video for him. Ava's voice narrated over the image of him shirtless in a hotel mirror. Time stamped. Location tagged. The voice said, "This is the man you're marrying. This is what he did while you were visiting your grandmother. This isn't a mistake. It's a pattern. You need to decide if you want a marriage or a lie." Lucas stumbled back, as if slapped. "Sophia," he stammered, this is taken out of context. It's fake. Somebody doctored this." Mia snapped another photo. Click. "It's all edited. This is Ethan's doing. He's always hated me. He's obsessed. He probably faked this whole, I checked the hotel reservation," Sophia said, her voice still unnervingly steady. "Under Ethan's name. Paid in cash. You even used his email address." "I didn't. I called the hotel 10 minutes ago. They read back the security deposit number. It matched the one you used for our anniversary weekend in Telluride." The blood drained from Lucas's face. Sophia took another step. "You know the worst part? I didn't even need the video. I knew. I ignored it. I told myself I was paranoid, that it was stress, that you were just flirtatious." She laughed, a bitter sound. "God, I defended you to everyone. Even when Ava tried to tell me what you said about her, I chose you. And you? You made my brother the joke in all of this." Lucas was floundering now. "Sophia, baby, please, let's just step outside. We can talk." "No," she said, louder this time. "There's nothing left to talk about." She turned to the guests. "Sorry, everyone. There won't be a wedding." Gasps, whispers. Mom stood up, looking utterly stunned. "Sophia, what are you talking about? What is this? Some kind of prank?" Sophia looked at her, and for a moment, I thought she'd crumble. But she didn't. "Ask Ethan," she said simply. Every head in the room turned to me. I hadn't moved from my corner. I didn't need to. I wasn't the center of this story. Sophia was. She walked toward me, stopping right in front. "I'm sorry," she said, eyes brimming, but firm. "For laughing, for letting them treat you like that. For everything." I nodded, swallowed hard. "I just didn't want you to marry someone who didn't deserve you." She smiled, a tired, sad smile. "Thank you for saving me." Then she turned back to the room. "Everyone, dinner's still being served. You might as well eat. I already paid for it." And with that, she walked out, head held high, spine straight, like a queen exiting a battlefield. She had just won. Lucas stumbled after her, chasing, muttering desperate pleas. "Sophia, wait, please." She didn't turn back. Not once. What happened next unraveled like a slow, satisfying storm. Lucas tried everything in the days that followed, gaslighting, guilt-tripping, even claiming the video was AI generated. But it didn't matter. Sophia had copies. Ava had backups. Noah had timestamps. And Mia had the proof, perfect reaction shots, the exact look on Lucas's face, the way the entire room shifted against him in one unspoken vote. And the final nail? One of the bridesmaids posted a TikTok recap of the rehearsal dinner. It went viral within 24 hours. Caption: "He tried to humiliate her brother." She exposed his cheating live. "No wedding, justice." 10 million views. Even the hotel responded in the comments, "We don't tolerate cheaters. We do offer breakfast until 11. Lucas lost everything. The wedding, the money he'd spent. Sophia's prenup ensured he got nothing. The new job offer he'd been bragging about? Rescinded the moment HR saw the video. Turns out, tech companies don't like being associated with viral scandals. Sophia moved out of their shared condo 2 weeks later, taking only what she'd paid for, which was almost everything. I got a text from her the day she moved, starting fresh. "Coffee soon?" I replied, only if I get to pick the playlist. Deal. Mom didn't speak to me for a week. She was embarrassed, humiliated. Not by Lucas's cheating, but by the scene of it all. The attention, the fallout, the fact that her perfect daughter's perfect engagement had become neighborhood gossip. But eventually, she came around. Dad, too. Slowly. It helped that Sophia defended me every step of the way. She told them I saved her, that if I hadn't done what I did, she would have married a liar. That Ethan wasn't a weird. He was right. I'll admit, there was a moment, sitting on the porch swing a few nights later, when Mom finally handed me a slice of pie and said, "You were brave." I didn't know how to respond, so I just said, "Thanks." She looked away, wiping her eyes. "Don't let it go to your head." The best part? I didn't feel like the weird brother anymore. I wasn't a prop in someone else's story. I wasn't background noise. I was me. Ethan Langston. The guy who once caught a snake in the backyard with a laundry basket. The guy who built a budgeting app for fun. The guy who protected his sister when no one else saw the danger. The guy who saw through the glitter and charm and exposed the truth without ever raising his voice. I didn't need to be loud. I just needed to be ready. And I was. 6 months later, I'm working full-time with Noah. We just landed a new client, and I'm leading a small dev team. It's not flashy, but it's steady. It's mine. Mia and I go for long walks now, sometimes with coffee, sometimes without. She's teaching me photography. I'm teaching her Python. Sophia started writing again. Little essays about strength, resilience, self-worth. She posted one on Medium last week. It ended with a line that stopped me cold. Sometimes your real knight doesn't ride in on a horse. Sometimes he shows up with receipts. I saved it. Printed it. It's framed on my wall now, because it's true. And because after everything, the lies, the laughter, the long silence, I finally found my voice. And this time, I'm not giving it away. What would you have done differently?